Hello, my name is Chris Layton, and I'm bringing you this flipped lesson as a way to talk to you about my presentation at ISTE on June 30th. I'm going to be talking about how to implement strategies and techniques in a one-to-one classroom or a BYOD environment. So, as you watch today, you're going to be getting an example of what a flipped lesson would look like. So as I said earlier, my name is Chris Layton, and I come from Oak Ridge, Tennessee, which is the Atomic City, or also known as the Secret City, for its role during the Manhattan Project. And that's important for you to know because it could be a question on your Kahoot quiz at the beginning of the session on June 30th. I love teaching history, but if I weren't a teacher, I would be an American picker. What an amazing job. Those guys probably have the best job in the entire world. Love their show, too. And I noticed on the folks who had registered for the event that there was someone from the University of Notre Dame. I am a huge Notre Dame fan. University, basketball, football, lacrosse, whatever. I love the school. Go Irish. That's my attempt at a little fist bump action there. And I also noticed that we're going to have somebody from the University of the Virgin Islands. Could you imagine a better place to retire? I can't, unless they didn't have Notre Dame football. Then I'd have to reconsider. All right, so we're all used to seeing this classroom environment at some point in our academic careers, whether as a teacher or as a student. We saw these desks lined up like this. I taught that way for a very long time, and what I realized was by taking on the role as the sage on the stage, by being the lecturer for 30, 35 minutes in a classroom, I had lots of students who were disengaged. And I needed that time to get them engaged to the content. So, in a one-to-one or a BYOD environment, I decided to flip my classroom. This is an example of flipping the lesson. You're learning the content here in a video. When we meet the session on June 30th, we're actually going to work with some of the materials I'm going to talk about. So, please, like I said, watch this as many times as you need to or as many times as you'd like to kind of pick up on the content. But the idea is to flip and no longer be the sage on the stage, but become the guide on the side. Now, when you flip your classroom, you create an environment where students become producers and teachers become facilitators. They can come up with phenomenal video content using techniques like paper slide videos, along with video tours, screencasts, etc., green screen videos. I can become the facilitator because the lecture content has gone into a very short video. I've also found in flipping the classroom, these qualities, which I'll talk about, amongst others, have come into play. So, we'll talk about these on June 30th, so take note there. Those could be really good questions for the Kahoot as well. I decided to flip my classroom because I want to promote the skills that our students are going to need for the 21st century. And even though we're not a part of the acronym, I am a big fan of STEM. And to me, even though social studies, which is what I teach, is not a STEM or part of the acronym, the practices of STEM can be really summarized in the 4 C's. But to help social studies along the way a little bit, I went ahead and I adopted a few extra C's for myself. So we'll talk a little bit about the 7 C's, or how I approach them in my classroom as well. So probably one of the most important things we'll talk about will be the tools and resources you can use in a bring your own device or a one-to-one classroom environment. We're going to play a game of Kahoot. If you've never played Kahoot, it's a lot of fun. And the questions for the Kahoot are going to come from this video. So if you get a chance to check out this video, kind of study it, you may do well on the Kahoot. Again, this is a flipped lesson example. This would be the type of thing my students would watch, and I could assess how much do they understand it from a game like Kahoot. We're also going to talk about a tool called Edpuzzle, which helps in a flipped class environment. And we're also going to look at Minecraft EDU along with Socrative. Now, Minecraft EDU is new to me, but I've been looking at it. I just was awarded a grant to use it with my students next year. So we're going to build some world history. We're actually going to reconstruct some civilizations. And Socrative is a great tool from MIT, which I use with my students as a form of assessment. I'm going to tell you why I like Socrative so much. So in my school, we have textbooks, but we also have a phenomenal resource from Discovery Education known as a digital textbook or tech book. And the things I really enjoy about this, it's very interactive, it's very engaging, but it also has a speak-to-text feature that I found with low-level readers, helps them as it reads the text to them, allows them to build vocabulary. It also has a Lexile level that you can change, and it also has for ELF students the ability to convert the textbook into Spanish. Now, at the end of the day, the reason I'm doing all of this in my classroom is to help my students, but this past Christmas Eve, my wife and I were blessed with the birth of our first child. So now I have even more motivation to not only help students that I have now, but to help these students develop these 21st century skills like critical thinking and creativity to help make it a better world for my daughter. I really don't want to see her in a sit and get classroom. I'm really hoping to help usher more people in this direction.